And we are coming down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Getting Sports with Drunk. Rat of a Red Baron here, joined by
Mark.
There it is.
The Mask Chris Massey.
Don't drop the mic.
Yes, you're hearing right. Your ears do not deceive you. Back after how long?
I would say since end of 2023, about a year and a half.
So we'll call it year/year and a half.
Load management.
Don't drop the mic. Back in studio. Very excited to have him here. Hostess Cupcake to join us momentarily. I think that might be him right
noise?
there. Ding, ding, there he is.
What up?
Screwed up, start over.
Are we live?
We are live.
You know, this guy Kendall has no fucking patience anymore.
I'll tell you.
It used to be 8:15 was never a problem. Now I get text at like 7:40, like, hey, you mind if I start it, now?
Well,
We gotta hurry up and wait. That's what we're doing around here. That's what we love to do.
Start over.
Fuck.
it's a big hurry up and wait process.
It's just like,
We're coming down in 3.
I don't even want. I don't want to be the hostess cupcake anymore. I'm just the cupcake.
Okay.
All right, we're coming down in 3, 2, 1.
Sports.
Paul, that was your lead-in.
I'm not the host anymore.
Drunk.
There you go.
Perfect.
With.
I'm so angry right now.
How angry?
Hi, we're all here.
No, I'm not angry with you.
No, I said how angry.
Scale of 1 to mad 6.
Wow. That is a heavy amount of anger.
That's above 5.
You don't want to be a 7 anger, but 6? Oof. Mad.
Hi, Kyle.
What up, dog?
Sorry I missed your call yesterday.
It was alright. It was just to talk about stuffing.
It was so bad, man.
I almost threw up.
It tasted like wet, dry cat food.
It was not great.
Ooh, the Pistons.
Yeah.
Winning.
A lot of that food wasn't great.
I'm trying to figure out what is going on here, but all right. So, yeah, I'm here. Sorry I'm late.
Oh, good. I forgive you, at least.
That's what
I
matters.
hope Massey did the toast of excellence. I hope he did.
He still.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
We're
All
waiting
right.
for you.
Then I'm just going to go through the thing here. I'm drinking a Maine beer company lunch.
Nice.
I got it for free.
Nice.
Best things in life are free.
Are they? Name 3 other things that are free that you like.
You have to get back to me.
Okay.
Cable TV.
Somebody's paying.
Well, yeah, but I'm not.
Samples
All right,
at
fine.
Costco.
Satellite, whatever. Like, if you put it like an antenna or something out, get the
Bunny ears.
basic. What?
Rabbit ears. Rabbit
Yeah.
ears.
Rabbit ears are free. Those are good.
Kyle's free. Thankful for that.
Are you free for dinner, Kyle?
It's also
I'm never through.
it's also free to be mean to Kendall.
Yes.
Oh, sure. I take him up on that all the time. He's offering it for free.
You know, some people are just a doormat. That's me.
You're the door.
I mean, you say that, but like you've just kind of walked all over me with starting the show without me lately.
Remember when you yelled at me, Kendall, for saying there was a key underneath the mat? And there was.
No, you weren't yelled at. I just dismissed it entirely. You can't change the narrative of the story. Only Massey can do that.
Thought the
Gotta
express,
fit my narrative, baby.
thought the express written.
But you
consent.
told me that there wouldn't be because I'm a dumb idiot.
I didn't call you a dumb idiot. I just said there's no
I
change with
remember.
the key.
I remember it vividly.
Wow.
And here we are. The
A lot of
being mean
hostility.
begins.
Wow.
You said, Kyle, what are you, an idiot? He wouldn't put a key under the mat for something as expensive as all the equipment he has.
I'll defend you, Kendall. I don't know anything that's going on, so Kendall definitely didn't do it.
Well, no, that did happen.
Okay.
For sure. That is a corroborated story.
Yeah,
So, where was the key, Kendall?
In your pants
Hell
the
yeah,
whole
bro.
time. Freaking David Blaine Souls.
Kendall, say the truth.
Jesus.
No, the key was under the mat. That was like one of those like TV moments. Like, nah, No way it's under the mat like you'd see in any show ever. Sure enough, key under the mat.
I never got an apology from you.
This is a
That
perfect,
can't be
perfect
true.
time to do it.
You
He's
know,
not going to do it.
Kyle or Kendall,
for
please.
one, I certainly would have apologized at any point. You know, the fact that we've been over the story so many times, we probably brought this story up, especially on air. I would venture to say at least twice a year.
Wow, you venture a lot. That's
I venture.
a good venture.
I'm not going to say it in a 6-month span, but just
Never.
twice a year it
Yeah.
happens. So, Kyle, to appease you and the listeners and the people on the podcast right now, Kyle, I'm sorry.
I'm in person. I can see the sincerity in his eyeballs. I promise you.
Right down to the hair follicles.
Yeah, but just because he's sincere doesn't mean he means it.
No, that's 100% true. He's totally just
Right.
motherfucking Kyle right now.
And I am a rat bastard. That's
With
been
that
that's
hair,
been noted.
absolutely.
It's been very well documented as a rat bastard.
What else has been documented about you?
Kyle, I would like to propose an idea.
Ban the rat of a red baron.
No, I think next year you just invite me and Mass to Philadelphia.
That's fine.
Nice. It's a real nice thing to say.
Well, Massey's for sure not gonna like offer to buy cheesesteaks and then ask you for money when he gets back to the seat.
That's a veteran move, by the way.
Didn't do that. In fact, I begged them to take more money.
No, you asked him for money because you were like, "Oh, Kyle, buy this frozen lemonade so I can drink it."
No, I get to have some lemonade, but then some of it got kicked on the ground.
Wow.
Not by me.
What kind of lemonade are we talking? Like,
Of the alcoholic
oh,
kind.
nice. Like a Mike's Hard? Or?
I don't really know.
Gotcha.
No, it's a frozen vodka lemonade.
Oh, one of those. Nice.
Comes in like a fishbowl thing, a mini fishbowl.
No, I can picture. Yeah, I'm there. I feel like I'm there.
And it was
Oh,
glass too.
Holy, they serve glass at a baseball
Yeah,
game?
it was glass.
It wasn't glass.
It was
definitely not glass.
it was certainly glass. You could just tell by its construction.
It had a weak constitution.
All right, has everybody else announced what they're drinking yet?
Oh, I have a salt and lime lager from Troge Independent Brewing. It's pretty good, actually.
Salt and lime.
Salt and lime.
I have a Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Liar.
No, it's made
Is
of
that
glass.
real?
A glass bottle.
I'm just kidding. I don't have that.
I was gonna say, there's no fucking way.
You're such a liar, Kyle. God.
But you don't have a key under your mat.
I got Jameson Orange sitting
know
over
what I
here.
mean.
I'll drink it.
There you go. Mass.
Breast milk.
Excellent. Curdle or 2% or 4% curd?
100% curd right now.
Oh man.
Whole milk?
No, breast milk.
I know. Is it whole milk though?
No,
from a
Kyle, it's
whole
breast
breast.
milk.
But is it whole?
No.
From a whole breast.
So it's only part milk?
All right, Kyle, change that number to 4.
3?
2.
Nope, we're up to 4 times today. Thank you for
About
that,
what?
kid.
Wait, what am I up to 4 about?
Hold
Tell me
on,
what
I
you're
got
drinking.
shit down my shirt now.
A gift from
Oh.
the Riddler.
I got you.
From the Compass Box Scotch Whiskey Maker Malt Whiskey Collection. I'll be having the Story of the Spaniard. Very excited for it.
The story of a Spaniard?
Ice.
Yes, I believe
This is the story of a girl.
it almost looks like you, Kyle.
Go ahead. Almost.
This is the story of a Spaniard. His name was Adam Sandler.
Just absolutely.
He made a movie that was so fucking bad. He absolutely called it
Jack and
Spaniard.
Jill.
Both bad movies.
Both bad movies. Toast of Excellence. Massey, I'm very excited for yours if you're going to hold true.
My toast of excellence. Hold on. Actually, Paul, do yours while I pull this up specifically.
My toast of excellence is to I don't even know if I have one this week.
All right,
To be
I
honest,
have it
it's-
right here.
Well, it's just like there's not really much going on in the world of sports right now. It's just, oh, you know what? I'll give it to toast of excellence to the Cubs and Diamondbacks on Friday. They had It was the first time in MLB history that it was a massive eighth inning. There were like 15 runs scored, like 21 hits from both teams. It was the first time ever that in one inning between both teams, like all four styles of home runs and all four styles of hits were recorded. So there was a single, a double, a triple, a home run, and then there was a solo, double, triple, and grand slam. And both teams hit grand slams in the same inning. It was a
Bad pitching.
pretty offensive juggernaut moment.
Bad pitching.
Yeah.
Can you share it with me?
Souls, do you have a toast?
Do have a toast.
Is it
Toast
to
excellence.
is it to a ninth inning person?
It's to the Phillies bullpen as a whole. They could all die. They're all
Sure.
bad. They're bad bullpen. Bad bullpen.
My toast is to the Cincinnati Reds, not only for their great jerseys, best in baseball, but over the weekend, I think on Sunday, they put up 24 runs.
Oh yeah, that's the Orioles, right?
Yep, football score. Always like that in baseball.
I love a good football. I love a good baseball score in basketball.
It happens very rarely.
It happens in the first minute.
I mean,
go ahead.
Kendall, a 7-3 ball game is a football score.
That's true.
Also, toast of excellence to the Thunder and Grizzlies for the first minute of NBA basketball I watched all year.
That was a terrible.
And
game.
only minute.
And it sucked.
Was that a 50-point game?
Depends on if you were
Yeah.
a Grizzlies fan or not.
Well, no, the first minute was not a good minute. The first minute, I think they went like 0 for 6 on field goals.
Oh,
What did Josh say?
Like-
Josh like we can't play any. That's the worst in the It's like yeah, you literally can't play any worse. Brutal.
Hey, Kyle,
Hello.
you know how you get really mad when like something really like stupid and mundane happens in our disc golf rounds where you're like, I can't believe that happened, and you get like bent out of shape about it?
Yeah.
If it makes you feel any better, Gannon Burr, I'm watching the final of the Kansas City Wide Open.
I already know what you're gonna say.
Gannon Burr had a 10-foot putt that he missed short, hit the cage, landed on its side, rolled out of bounds into a lake.
Is that the first hole?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that
Oh.
today.
Yes.
Paul, did you watch the coverage from either Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, I watched that. Well, I watched rounds 1 and 2. I'm watching the final round right now, and
Okay.
this would be yesterday's coverage.
Did you see Macbeth's birdie on 4 the other day?
Maybe. I mean,
Out of the
probably.
woods.
Oh yeah.
That was one of the best shots I've ever seen.
I've done that. It's great. It's a great feeling. Actually, I think Kyle was there when I did it.
Was that on hole 12 at Loughbury?
No, that one was in the fairway. It was just right. Do you remember there was one time it was hole 2 at Luff? I threw downhill, and it was when I started trying to throw backhand down that hill. I went all the way to the right, and I was in the woods, and I just threw a forehand up and over everything, and it went in.
I'm sure I was there.
It was pretty crazy. It's a great feeling when stuff like that happens.
I'm sure. I wouldn't know.
You've had some good putts.
Anyways,
Mike K, do you have a toast?
As I mustered up one, I was thinking I'm gonna go with Jeff Van Gundy for putting up the fight of his life against Nikola Jokic to not let him
Against
get that
Jokic.
ball. Well, I think it was because he was trying not to let him do that quick inbound thing, right? That Jokic does.
yeah.
Which is pretty funny. It's like Jeff Van Gundy. I know you're like. I mean, he's not like a Hall of Fame. I mean, he is, but like he's not like a. But it's just like, hey, your job now is to stop the Serbian guy from inbounding the ball. It's like you got it. It's just one job.
Oh, you know what?
but-
I'll also give another toast of excellence to Jeff Missoula.
Joe Mazzulla.
For telling
Joe
Jason
Mazzulla?
Tatum to get fucked.
Yeah, he's like
Just the nice old school coaching. You know, hey, I don't know if you guys are all like new to the show, but like when someone's giving a toast, you don't interrupt it. Bunch of jerks.
Who are you talking to?
Both of you.
Oh, all right.
You and yourself.
All right, sorry. I'll go Oh, sorry.
You,
He's not allowed to talk to me like that.
you rat bastard. I am allowed to talk to the set. I'm just not going to. Not until I get my disc. Fair?
Fair.
I suppose, but I already traded it out for one of the ones I ordered because I like the purple better.
What?
I traded yours out for one of the ones I ordered because I like the purple better.
No.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
No, I'm kidding.
I already paid you for it.
You paid me for a disc.
I paid you for that disc.
All right. Anyways,
All
I
right.
have a toast that Paul's going to be very happy for. So, Maksheen, who's not on the show tonight, at some point over the summer went to Old Saybrook and played around at Cedar Swamp, I believe is the course. Mock then lost a disc on one of his drives in the water and has been waiting to get it back ever since. The other day, Mock posted on the CT Disc Golf Facebook group, and my toast of excellence is to Todd Allen Fleming and Timothy Dolan. Mockstream posted and said, is anyone able to help me get my disc back from this shop? I have a disc return there and I live in Meriden. And Todd responded and said, did you forget how to drive? Which already made me laugh. And then Tim responded and said, obviously, that's how he lost the disc in the first place.
Oh man.
And that's the only response on that Facebook message. So I'm not going to be getting his disc back.
Hilarious.
And you know that's just eating them up inside.
Oh, yeah.
So Todd is the Todd from the disc golf shop.
Is
even,
that Todd?
Yeah.
Even better.
That's hilarious.
It's very funny. All right.
That's even funnier.
Drink beers. Oh, wait. Do we want to do a sip of silence for Kendall's hero?
Yes, we do.
The Pope?
All right.
Kendall, tell us about your loss this week.
Well, I don't know.
It's a radio show guy.
I gotta be honest.
He's trying.
Over
Kendall?
my head.
The Pope died today.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to take the reins on this one?
No, you are the.
Well-
you text me every day articles about the Pope.
You're also the only one here that went to Catholic school all the way through 8th grade.
That's not true at all. I went to Catholic school K through college.
So actually,
All right, you're the only one that went to Catholic school all the way up until 8th grade and isn't gay.
Well, you don't know.
That's
True.
true.
So
You are the
Today I
only.
learned that Kendall went to Catholic school. That's pretty funny to me.
Yeah, you went to Catholic school and
Which Catholic school did you go to?
I went to St. Mary's of Milford.
Oh, okay.
Quick stone's throw from here.
How many?
He went to Mercy High School.
Hell yeah, that's the sister school. What?
So
yeah, nice.
we're doing the sip of silence for the Pope.
How he died when he was what 88? I'll drink for 88 seconds.
All right, let's do it.
All right, I'm doing it.
Kyle, would you like to say a few
All right.
words?
The Pope was a good guy, you know.
No, I don't. Enlighten me.
So
Go ahead.
Kyle, I don't know if you really need to talk about a guy whose job literally only exists for a thing you don't even believe in.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm not saying that I don't care about what you have to say about it. I'm just saying definitely the least qualified to care.
You're right. And I'm not saying that I do care.
No. I'm not saying you are saying that. You're saying that you do care.
I mean, I care that he died. I don't care about his profession.
There you go. He got to wear a pretty cool robe, though.
And he had his own mobile. It's pretty cool.
You have the
Well,
Pope-mobile?
It wasn't his mobile, though. It belonged to the church.
That's
I
true.
will say it's
He
pretty
leased
cool
it.
that he rallied to give a sermon on literally the most important day for the church
He's like, I'm out.
for the year, the day before he died.
And so for those reasons, I'm out.
I watched a young child yesterday come into Easter Sunday praising about saying Happy Resurrection Sunday to everybody with like a big cross around his neck and all that, and then proceeded to take a like automatic bunny rabbit that hops and put it on his crotch and just let it like hop on it.
A lot to
Are we all
dissect there.
The true spirit of the holiday.
Yep.
Love it. All right, moving on. So Mass, how do we want to do this? Do we want to do a mock draft? Do we just want to talk about the draft? I mean, I figure we'll spend like a 45 minutes or so just kind of discussing, and then we can do whatever else we want. But obviously, like we're in like the slower buildup of baseball right now. We have, as a group, are very disinterested in the NBA playoffs, which is sad because it used to be one of my favorite times of the year.
I watched every single game.
Knicks
But
are
like
losing a half.
but like you don't really care what happens.
I mean, I do to a degree.
You just want Anthony Edwards to win.
Aren't you a Pelicans fan? Oh, that's mock.
Mock's a Pelicans fan.
right.
Massey's a Raptors fan.
Massey's unaligned.
No, you're a Raptors fan. You can't be unaligned for 4 years.
I can be.
Then you have to pick a player.
And you have to take back that championship.
That's fine.
You can't have the championship. You have until the end of the postseason to pick a player, and you can be a fan of that player and any team they play for, but you have to be a fan of something because you're not just a fan of the sport.
Why can't I be?
Because you're not.
Now,
I like a lot of players.
will we give him, like, if he can pick
No,
someone
that's
at
fine.
the draft?
You can like a lot of players. That's okay. But I'm saying pick a player that you're going to be a fan of, barring like raping a kid or something, you're going to be a fan of no matter what. And then like that will be where you're elite. Like there are plenty of people out there that are just LeBron James fans. There were just Kobe Bryant fans. There are people that were Carmelo Anthony. Like, so there were people out there that were like, Cleveland, then Miami, then Cleveland, then LA. Like that's okay if you commit to it, but you have to commit to it now.
White Howard.
Right now.
Not right now, but like by the end of the playoffs. It can be an older player. It can be a younger player. It can be whatever. Like I know you like Ant. I know you like Luca. Like, but you got to pick somebody that you're gonna just be like aligned to. Because if you're not a fan of something that you can like claim a championship to, what's the point?
Also, if you
Living.
pick Luca, you're dead to me.
I want to see Massey go dark horse here and James Harden.
Clips day.
Nope. Going even darker horse. Give me
Ooh.
Russell Westbrook.
Oh, nice.
Nuggets day.
Yeah,
Ben
he's a
Simmons.
Nuggets fan.
Speaking of Ant, though, he told a fan that was heckling back and forth with him, and I quote, "My dick is bigger than yours."
And he makes $200 million.
And that's very funny to me.
Yeah. I mean, is it? We need proof.
Good for him.
He should have,
The proof is in the pudding.
What pudding?
Yeah, but it's still very funny that he just casually said that to a
How
fan.
do I get my hands on this pudding?
So, Massey, I'm going to give you the. You have until the end of the postseason to pick either a team or a player.
All right.
You can be a casual fan of the team or the player, but like you got to be committed to something so that there's a championship component that you're rooting for every year.
All right. That's fair.
So I'll give you till the end of the playoffs.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to let you kind of take the reins on discussions about however we want to handle the discussing of the draft. I mean, I think that because we kind of dropped the ball on it, I don't think it would be wise to just do a mock draft because nobody's done their homework. And let's be real, this draft class sucks balls.
Well, we
I
know the
know.
position of need of everybody.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess, but I mean, like, because we haven't done the homework, like, everyone's just going to pull up a mock draft and just go off of it. So, like, I mean, like, there's not enough time to sit down and, like, actually do, like, a formulating of opinions.
Yeah.
We can do one. I don't care. I'm just saying I feel like if we do one now, having not done any of the homework, we're just reading
We'd
off.
probably be better off. Probably get more right this way.
Kyle, you just want to do a mock
Okay.
draft?
Yeah, let's do a mock draft. Kyle.
Kyle, just say you want to do a mock draft.
We'll all sit here and listen.
You want to do mock draft?
I'd rather do the mock draft because it's better than just talking about dumb players.
Here, you know what, Kyle? We'll do it this way then. Hold on.
Thing.
That's what I said, Paul. We're talking about the same thing.
The Bears are going to get Ashton Genty.
What pick do they have?
I don't think they're going to.
If he's there at 10, I think they take
I
him.
don't think he's going to be.
But I'm just saying, if he's there at 10, I think they're going to
What
take
happened
him.
to the Raiders at like 6 or something?
No,
I'm
Massey
going.
Massey thinks the Raiders are taking Shedeur Sanders.
I don't know about that anymore.
Oh, all right, never mind then.
All right. So, Mike, the only one this, or the only, you're able to be the only one this.
What did you just say?
I said, Mike, this is going to be a little difficult for you. He's going to be the only one that's going to be a little bit difficult for.
Who? Me?
Yeah, because you
Why?
can't see this unless Kendall shares the screen with you.
Oh. Sorry. I'll pay attention.
So, we got a mock draft simulator here. Let you pick a bunch of different teams. So we'll do all of our teams, and then I'll talk about the picks as they come up for all the other teams. We'll just do a first round mock draft, and we'll go from there. So we'll do Rams, Bears. Where the hell are the Steelers? Mike, are you a Patriots fan or are you a Broncos fan? You're a Broncos fan.
Broncos.
Let's ride.
Or the Broncos.
Let's hide. Actually, no, not sure. It's let's ride.
And I put the Steelers. Okay, so we're good. All right, so we're a couple days away from the draft. Draft is this Thursday. Starts this Thursday. As Paul mentioned, this is not the best class in the last 10 years, but there's some good positions available in this draft. For example, this is probably the best draft for a defensive lineman in the past 10 years. I would not be surprised to see at least 10 linemen go in this year's first round.
It's also very deep at running back.
It is also very deep at running back and defensive back.
It's very bad at wide receiver.
It is extremely deep at wide receiver.
It's
There's
bad
no
at
number
really-
ones, but
Yeah,
are-
it's bad in terms of day one game changers.
yes.
Yeah, biggest three needs are running back, defensive line, and corner.
Look at you.
But too bad we need a quarterback.
Steel curtain, baby.
So what are we doing here? Are we picking the teams we want to draft for?
We're gonna select
we-
our teams.
Are we going to draft the
And-
teams we want to draft for?
Yeah.
All right. Kendall gets the Texans. That's his. That because like
He's a
obviously,
Houston guy.
you know they can't both pick the Steelers pick. So Kendall gets the Texans by default. And Kyle gets the Steelers.
I think they should get a discussion about that.
That was the discussion.
Kendall either gets the Texans or the Bills.
Choose right now.
I think Kendall either gets the Texans or Kyle gets the Lions, whatever they want to do.
Kendall's a bigger Texans and Bills fan than Kyle is Lions fan.
He's right, you know.
I don't think that's true.
Kendall,
Kyle's a pretty big Lions
Fair
fan.
comment.
I'll take the Dolphins here.
Kendall is a huge
Fish.
Bills fan, Mass. Like huge Bills fan. Like he has multiple Bills jerseys.
There's just guys named Bill in the back.
All the Bills. I do have multiple though.
Of who? What player?
Do you?
Paul
Oh, yeah.
Posey?
No.
Why?
He's got like Eric Molds. He's got what's his what's the receiver there?
It was
Deion
Stephen
Coleman.
Hoshka.
I do have Stephen
Steven
Hauschka
Hauschka.
and
Yeah,
He's
got-
got the Bills jersey.
what's
He's
that?
got a Hauschka Bills jersey. It was a gift from Kyle.
That's so funny.
How often do you
I
wear
have Roscoe
What's the
Parrish.
receiver? Roscoe Parrish. Thank you.
I loved Roscoe Parrish.
You know,
So-
he gave me so much shit, and I've never seen him wear that jersey.
That's also not
Matthew,
true. At least I know where a jersey is,
I think,
Kyle.
I think enough evidence has been presented that Kendall gets the Bills pick.
Kendall, I'm kind of with them on that.
But I mean, if we're going off of that rule alone, I have more Steelers jerseys than.
But Kyle, like you and Kyle are Steelers won. But then the amount of fandom you have for the Bills is stronger than the amount of fandom that Kyle has for his second favorite team.
Listen, I'll draft for the Bills. No problem.
All right. I'll give you the
You're
Dolphins
also-
too. How about that?
It also makes more sense for you to have the Bills because you are a slave to football, whereas Kyle could only watch the Steelers and be fine with it.
Yeah.
And I'll give you
right,
the
yeah.
Dolphins as well. How about that?
Well, perfect.
All right.
So, are we drafting teams that we're going to pick for, or how are we doing this?
We're doing our own teams.
Oh, so they're just going to simulate this draft?
So far we have Cam Ward going to Miami. That's a pretty obvious one.
Miami.
That has been the worst kept secret of the draft, I guess.
Miami?
No, Tennessee.
Oh,
Did I say Miami?
yeah. He went to Miami college.
Yeah. I mean, I personally don't think that they should take Cam Ward, but they're going to anyways. I think that they should be taking Travis Hunter and then taking a flyer on either another quarterback in the second or third round, or going after somebody like Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers. But, I guess if you're going to do this, you're going to fail spectacularly. So, Cleveland Browns select Travis Hunter, cornerback out of Colorado. I don't know how much more needs to be said about Travis Hunter. This is the best player in the draft, bar none.
And only the Browns are stupid enough to buy into him be able to play two ways.
No, because Patriots already said if he fell to them, they would let him do that too.
I mean, you gotta at least let him try, see how he does in like OTAs and stuff. And if he really can't do it, I mean,
Yeah.
might as well let him try. And if he sucks at it, then go back to.
Yeah.
Well, what's he better at? Would you say?
Corner.
Is he better at defense? Yeah.
I'd like to
Number
propose a
three.
trade. I'd like to propose a trade with the Patriots before you continue the draft.
Sure. Who's trading?
Me.
Okay. The Bears. What are you trading?
I'll give. So obviously, pick swap.
Current 10 for current 4. Okay.
Next year's first, and the 41st overall pick.
For
And that's my offer.
Mm-mm. No deal.
We'll just propose it. They'll either deny it or accept it. I'm offering.
Denied.
Well, they
that's
accepted it.
way overkill, but all right.
Well, it's based off. I went based off of the trade chart, the points chart, and it actually matches up perfectly on the points chart.
All right.
The Bears take Mason Graham.
I hadn't finished talking about the Giants yet.
But I need this to happen, okay? I have a prayer circle for Mason Graham, damn it, and I need somewhere to say that Mason Graham's a Bear.
Okay.
I mean, you can do it after you give your thing. I just don't want to. I just want you to know my pick.
What if the Giants take Mason Graham?
But this.
Oh, damn, it's a good trade. No, I need Mason Graham because this isn't real.
Do you want to accept this? The Patriots want to trade back up.
Is that real?
Hey, we changed our minds.
Well, I mean, but they're offering me way less.
That's why I
That's
said I think you over.
In the real world, if the Bears were going to trade up the 4, they're giving up next year's first and at least a third this year.
Oh, that's so funny. All right. What about Atlanta?
I want Mason Graham.
All right.
Unless somebody's offering me Mason Graham, I don't want Mason Graham. I want Mason Graham. Give me
Okay.
Mason Graham.
I think
Thank
he wants
you.
Mason Graham.
So, the New York Giants select edge Abdul Carter, who,
Ooh.
in my personal opinion, is the second best edge rusher in this draft. He's coming off an injury. I don't even remember what the injury actually is.
It's like a foot thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some kind of foot thing. Does it tell you?
I think it's flat foot fasciitis, I believe.
Did you say fat foot or flat
Scoreboard.
foot?
Here we
It
go.
doesn't matter.
Yes.
Control F foot.
Nope. All right.
All right.
So
I'll
he
look
has
it
some
up.
kind of injury. Kyle, feel free to chime in on any of these here. I still think that he can improve a lot, but I don't think he was like some kind of
He
bona
has a
fide number one overall pick.
stress reaction.
That's what it was. I still think he's the second best edge rusher in this draft, but is what it is. Paul, tell us about Mason Graham.
I think Mason Graham is the real deal. I think that he's going to be a really good long term, like everyone's looking for like that Aaron Donald like player, not like necessarily in terms of dominance, like Aaron Donald's one of one, but more so just like the anchor on your defensive line for like years to come. And like pass rushers are great, but they have up and down seasons. Having a really good stout defensive tackle in the middle that can stuff the run, clog the gaps, and take on double teams is a real gem thing to have. The Bears' defensive line and offensive line were both heavily addressed this offseason, but the defensive line is still the biggest question mark going into it because they got an aging Grady Jarrett who was more of a culture move than a wow stat move. And then the, Yayo Wamanubaduba guy from Indianapolis
How do you spell
is
that?
more of a XYZ. He's a Dennis Allen project, which I have full confidence until proven otherwise in Dennis Allen's ability to, make the right call on players like that. But it is an unknown thing, and then Gravon Dexter and Billings, who are on the team from last year, still have a lot to prove. I don't think that you can have too many quality defensive linemen. I think the Bears are going to play a fast paced style of defense, which will result in a lot of rotations. And, I think Mason Graham, in my opinion, is the best defensive lineman in the draft.
All right. Also, Dayo Odeyingbo.
Yeah, on the podcast I listen to, whenever they say his name, they go, "Oh, Dio."
Hilariously racist. I like it.
Mhm.
I also completely forgot that you guys signed Olamide Zacchaeus.
I don't know who that is.
That was the deep threat wide receiver for the Commanders last year.
Oh! They call him the Book of Zacchaeus on the radio show that I listen to.
That's very funny. All right, so next we have the Jaguars taking Will Campbell, offensive tackle out of LSU.
I also like this draft pick. I was just real quick. I really like the Mason Graham draft pick too because it really fucks up what Jacksonville was trying to do. Because Jacksonville for sure was hoping that either Carter or Graham were going to be there.
I
Fun
think
fact: the news floating around the NFL right now is that no, Mason Graham is not a sure thing to the Jaguars. In
Tyler
fact,
Warren.
it's looking more like they won't draft him than they will draft him.
Tyler Warren to Jacksonville.
Maybe
That would be such a Jacksonville pick.
it would be. I also wouldn't be surprised to see Jalen Walker go there. Yeah. All right. So
It would just be such a Jacksonville pick because Jacksonville is forever trying to find their version of some really big home run hit draft pick somebody had the year before instead of just getting the first of something. Like instead of going out and looking at these prospects and being like, "Oh, we might get the best thing in this or whatever," they're just like, "Oh, we got to try to find our Brack Bowers."
Here's the problem: is that they're actually going to have a good draft this year, and I firmly believe that.
That's fine. They'll have a great draft, but none of them will be there in 5 years.
No, I think these will be. I think this is going to be a Brad Holmes level draft class for them. Anyways, Will Campbell, the tackle from LSU, goes to Jacksonville. Terriota McMillan, the first wide receiver off the board, to the Raiders.
He's gonna be a bust.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, like we said, there's no sure thing at wide receiver in this year's draft. It's hard. I mean, he's a big guy. He's 6'4", 219. He struggles at separation though. I think he projects more like a Christian Kirk than anything else.
That's
That's
not
just
a
me.
good pick.
No, it's not. All right, up next, the Jets take Armand Membu out of Missouri, offensive tackle.
I disagree with that pick so hard.
I mean, do you want to go back and we can draft for everybody?
Yes.
I'm well. I mean, if everybody wants to do that, that's fine.
Yes.
I don't know. In my head, I feel like they're going to draft either Warren or McMillan, like whichever one's available.
All right, Cam Ward off the board. Number 2, Cleveland Browns selects Travis Hunter.
Are you just picking these?
He restarted it.
Oh, okay.
I restarted it. We can pick everybody. All right, Giants are on the board.
They'll take Carter, in
Mason
my
Graham.
opinion.
I would agree with that.
See, it's funny. I don't think they're going to. No, you don't have to.
Yep, we're doing this. We're keeping it real.
No, well, that's not real. If we're controlling it, all right. So we are just saying they're taking Abdul Carter. We're not like giving any opinions from anybody else. Just what you and Kyle think.
Yes.
That's how the show
Okay.
runs.
All right. So, Kyle, who do you think the Bears are taking here then?
Well, Mason Graham is who they took.
I don't understand what we're doing. So, like, are we redoing the same thing? Like, why did we exit out of the other one?
I just brought it back because you said we disagreed, so I just brought it back to where we were.
So, are we not picking what everybody picks? I'm so confused.
All right, starting
Okay.
again.
All right,
Titans.
coming down. And,
I said we were picking everybody. Why is this picking for me? All enter solo draft. Okay.
I'm totally in agreement with the Cam Ward first overall pick.
As am I.
As am
As
I.
in, I think that that's what they're doing. I don't think it's the smart move.
I think Kendall has to make the final choice on everyone.
All I've heard was Cam Ward of the Titans.
I heard some Mason Graham somewhere in there.
Mason Graham, number 2 overall.
No, Travis Hunter, I believe, is going to Cleveland.
No, he's
Yeah, so do
falling to
I.
17.
I think
It's either him or it's Abdul Carter, but I think it's more likely that it's Travis Hunter than anything else.
I think it's either Travis Hunter or Shadur Sanders.
I don't think
You know
Shadur's
Shador goes that early.
I don't
No.
think. Well, I think that the Browns are definitely the organization to panic and take a quarterback that early because they don't have an option.
Just play Sanders at quarterback. He'll figure it out. Not Sanders, Hunter at quarterback. He'll figure it out.
Yeah, there you go.
I do think that the likely pick is Travis Hunter. I'm just saying if it's not Travis Hunter, I think it would be Shadur Sanders.
I think the
I don't
Browns,
think-
they're just desperate
I don't
for
think
like
it's going to be Abdul Carter at all.
No, they want like a sexy, flashy pick, like someone that'll sell jerseys. Honestly, the Browns are kind of at that point, just coming off that terrible
Everything.
Watson situation. They're just like, yeah, they could get like an edge rusher in Carter who would be great hit opposite him and Miles Garrett, but they already have like two. So I mean, I just think they go Hunter because it'll sell jerseys, it'll get the hype with fucking Dion and stuff. So I that's probably what I think they do. But they're also the Browns and they'll fuck it up.
Yeah.
Kendall.
Hunter here.
All right.
Going Hunter Pence.
New York Giants.
I would say Abdul Carter.
I
I
would
don't-
also say Abdul Carter.
They take
All right,
whoever
I mean,
who the Browns don't
I'm
take.
cool with being the minority. I don't think they take Abdul Carter here.
They probably don't, but they go with. You don't think like a Genty would go that early, would you?
I think that I genuinely think the Giants trade back.
I mean, if I keep getting confused. If Hunter goes to the Browns, they trade back. If Hunter's there at 3, I think they take him.
What do you think? New York
Here's
and
the thing, though. They
Jacksonville
have to
would
find
do a
somebody
trade?
to trade back with.
What'd you
Jacksonville.
say, Mass? What'd you say?
They have to find somebody to trade back with.
So here's the thing, Kyle. I don't think Jacksonville would trade up because at this, like Jacksonville, at this point, like I think just based off of the way that the draft is like kind of projected to go, I don't think Jacksonville's freaking out because the team ahead of them is it's more than likely that they're going to pick an offense. They're going to pick offensive line.
Okay.
So like I don't think Jacksonville's going to trade up because I think Jacksonville's fine with Mason Graham or Abdul Carter,
Or I could see Carolina.
or if they're going to do something like if they're going to go after like you said, like you think they're going to go after the tight end, they can get him at 5. There's like no one's jumping up to get the Warren at 3.
Is there any stock whatsoever in drafting Sanders? They say goodbye to DeVito, and then it's like this is Dable and Shane's chance. Okay, here's your develop your guy. Or do you think that's not the case?
I don't think so because they brought in Jameis and Russell.
It would be weird. I agree. I just didn't know if because I feel like it's always the talking point. Like, oh, they didn't have their guy when they started their time here in New York. Blah blah blah. I just didn't know.
Take Sanders.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think
Yo,
those guys
Paul.
have one more year anyway.
Here
So
All right. Here's my super dark horse, very unlikely thing to happen. The Giants trade back with Dallas for Dallas to take Genty.
Genty's a perfect guy for Jerry Jones. Not in a good way, but just that it's classic. He'll just take him. I mean, he's a good fucking player.
I don't think it will happen, but I'm just saying like that. Like, everything about that makes sense.
I think I go back to what I'm saying. It'll all the first 5 picks will all hinge upon what the Browns do at 2. If they brown it up and they take Carter, which again great pick, but I think the Giants stay put because Hunter's good to be there as somebody who can move the needle both on the field and off the field, and I think the Giants will move back. But yeah, I mean, the Cowboys would love somebody like Hunter too, but nobody will trade. I mean, any team would. I think. I mean, he's a good player, but I don't know.
Now we traditionally don't do trades, so I'm cool with letting the Giants take Carter because I mean, if I'm the Giants, I don't take Carter. I would rather take like Will Campbell, but I don't think that's even remotely going to be an option. So I'm fine with because we traditionally don't do the trade, so I'm fine with Carter being the pick.
Thank you for your
Abdul
sacrifice.
Carter.
Number
Watch
4,
that.
New England Patriots.
I think this is either Will Campbell or a Mamba Mambu thingy. I think one of the two. I think they're just going to.
If
I
they
think
stay put, the pick is Will Campbell.
right. Like I think it's one. Like I agree with you, but I've seen a lot of stuff thinking that like Membu could go ahead of Campbell. Like if a team if like it depends on where a team like has him ranked kind of thing. But I think it's just one of the two. Like I'm fine with it being Campbell. I don't care. I just think it's one of the two.
Everything I've heard has said that if the Patriots pick a tackle, it's Will Campbell.
Vrabel's going to build from the trenches.
Welcome to New England, Will.
So
It's also a New England name, Will Campbell.
Kendall?
Yeah, Will Campbell.
All right. Number
so
5,
Massey,
Jackson.
enlighten us with who you think Jacksonville's taking if you don't think it's Mason Graham. I know Kyle thinks it's going to be Warren.
I think it's going to be Jalen Walker or where's his name? Will Johnson.
Bless your
But
soul.
this-
if that's true, if that's
This
true,
is the big name I heard.
if that's true, the real Mason Graham prayer circle is in full effect.
This
I
is
think it's gonna be
the
Tyler
biggest
Warren.
name I've heard popping up the last few days that has really been floating around Jacksonville.
I mean, I don't think it's Tyler Warren. I know, Kyle, I know you're sold on it because they let Evan Ingram go. But I just think this, like, the new regime and all this stuff, like they need so much. They obviously, like, believe in Trevor Lawrence, and you can pick up, like, yes, if Warren is Brock Bowers, you can't pass up on Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers, is that, and Travis Kelce, like, those are game changing. You can pick up a serviceable tight end throughout trading, throughout free agency, and throughout other drafts. You can pick one up deep in this draft. Like, the hell's that noise?
I don't know.
I don't know
But,
what
like,
that was.
I agree. Like, if he's a game changer, then I could see it. But I just, they need so much help on defense, and the Walker pick makes sense because while yes, you want to build through the trenches, like, they just don't have anything as far as a defensive identity goes. And starting with the captain of your team kind of makes a big deal.
I think just the way that Liam Cohen coaches, Tyler Warren makes a lot of sense.
I think he does too, but at the same time, like, do you think all the scouts and other coaches are in agreement with that? Of, like, are they a Tyler Warren away from winning every single game, 42-35?
No, but
But
it's a start to getting the ball out of Trevor Lawrence's hands quicker.
right, but it doesn't mean anything if your defense is surrendering 35 points a game and your offensive line can't block.
We also play in a division where it's still pretty much wide open.
Which I think hurts your argument. If the division's wide open, you need defensive players to stop the offense more than you need a
I don't know
good
what they
tight
did
end.
in the offseason.
Who
I'm
did
just
in
saying.
the offseason?
Well, I'm just saying though, like I just think, like you look at it from a division, like the Colts have some decent offensive pieces here and there. The Texans have a lot of offensive pieces if they're healthy, and then the Titans have a really, really good defense, but no offense. And
Was your question for what Jacksonville did in the offseason?
Yeah.
Jordan Lewis, cornerback, Nick Mullins, quarterback, Eric Murray, safety, Patrick McCarry, guard, Robert Hainsey, center, De'Ami Brown at wide receiver, Hunter Long and Johnny Munt at tight end, Chuma Edoga at tackle, Fred Johnson at tackle.
All right, so they're going to go Jalen Walker
they just have nothing on defense.
or Mason Graham.
I don't think that they're going to go Mason Graham. Everything I've heard in the last few days has said, nope, they're not doing Mason Graham. Be surprised. Everybody thinks it's Mason Graham. It's not Mason Graham.
Could be just a smokescreen, too.
It could be.
I'm cool with Jalen Walker. I don't care.
It's not life or death.
Kendall?
Yeah, Jalen Walker. I mean, I just feel like that Liam Cohn guy definitely came in with a lot of noise, and I think they're just gonna try to make a safe pick here.
Oh.
Duval.
Oakland Raiders
The Raiders.
of Las Vegas.
Yeah, they're gonna pick somebody
Ashton
outrageous.
To me, it's Ashton Genty. I just feel like that makes the most sense.
Either Ashton Genty or Jador Sanders. It's probably Ashton Genty. But I think this is another dark horse pick.
I think Shedeur Sanders is going to be just like Geno Smith.
Yeah, but Tom Brady has that relationship with Dion.
I still think it's Genty.
Kendall?
Yeah, Ashton Genty.
Ashton Genty. Number 7, New York Jets.
They take Warren.
They take Warren.
That I just think that the Jets, like, I think that there's a lot of decent defensive pieces on this team already. Yes, they could use some help in certain aspects. The offensive line could use some help as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go with, like, a Membu. But I think that the loss of Devontae Adams, I think that they're just going to do everything they can to make Justin Fields' life easier.
Do you think the Jets' phone rings here?
Oh, did they call this due to weather? Is that why it's only 9 holes?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
No. Did they call it due to weather? I don't remember. I haven't watched it today except for the first 3 holes.
They only played the front 9. They didn't, and Gannonberg was just crown champion. So with
They
9 to
must have
go,
called it for the weather.
I mean, he was up 5 strokes. I mean, I think the Jets' phone could ring here. Who do you think's calling?
New Orleans.
No.
I don't think so. I don't think New Orleans is calling because New Orleans is just a fucking dumpster fire. They need everything.
There is only one team that's calling right now if Mason Graham is still there.
Not the Bears.
Well, actually, lie. There's 2 teams that are calling if Mason Graham is still here.
Who? Chicago and San Fran.
Chicago and Carolina.
So I don't think Carolina's calling because Carolina added a ton of defensive pieces on the line.
They still need another pass rusher / interior defender. Because remember, the big one that they were going to get, what's his face, that went to the Patriots.
I get that, but I also think that the Panthers
I'm telling you that if Mason Graham is there, the Panthers are taking him.
If he's there at 7, they're going to trade up to get him.
They would do it to jump ahead of Chicago, I think.
I mean, if you really think that's going to happen, I don't see it happening because the Panthers need so many things, and I don't think I genuinely don't think the Bears are trading up. I don't think they're going to trade up to get Mason Graham at 7. I think the Bears. I think that because I think especially with their 2 second-round picks and their 3rd-round pick, I think that they're going to go for straight depth in this draft.
It's the Panthers.
I don't think the Bears are going to trade up, and I think that yes, they need another defensive piece, but they also have they have no wide receivers. They don't have a good running back. I mean, I know these pieces aren't all here, but they don't have a tight end, they don't have a running back, they don't have wide receivers. Their offensive line has been pretty decent. Their secondary is good, but they need linebackers. They need all kinds of shit. I mean, if you think
then I think that they take either Mike Green or Shamar Stewart.
Who, the Jets?
The Panthers.
But we're picking for the Jets.
I know, but we're talking about the needs for the Panthers right now.
Well, you think they're going to trade up and take Mason Graham?
I think so, but if you don't think so, then I'll back down.
I mean, you have the bigger insider knowledge than I do. So if you've heard that if Mason Graham's there at 7, they're going to do that, then more power to you. I just think that for an organization that is at best the 3rd best team in their division, has a lot of help that they still need across the lineup, to give up assets to move up and get a guy that
where's Michael Williams?
Is 22 or 21. I just think for a team that it needs as much help as the Panthers need, to mortgage assets to move up 1. I mean, like you said, if there's another team that wants Mason Graham and the Jets call the Panthers and go, hey, if you want Mason Graham, this is the offer. Different story. I don't know if there's a lot of teams that are going to be willing to jump up there to get him.
All right, so let's say Tyler Warren at 7 for the Jets, because that's a pretty consensus pick. Kendall?
I mean, you know a lot better than I.
I think for the Jets, yeah, I think Warren, and then if you think the Panthers are going to go after Mason Graham, then the Panthers go after Mason Graham. I also think
I'll back off on that.
No, that's fine. No, I'm not. Look, I just don't think they're going to trade up to get him. If he's there at 8, it makes perfect sense, especially because I kind of thought the Panthers were going to go after Jalen Walker. And if Jalen Walker's not available, I could see them taking Mason Graham or Shamar Stewart. I think that the Panthers I think it's a sexier pick to go after the edge rusher, but I also don't think the Panthers are in a position to really care about whether the pick is sexy or not. I think they're just going to go out and get the best available player in a position of need. So I could see Mason Graham. I could see Shamar Stewart. I could also see them just shocking everybody and going out and getting McMillan because, Bryce Young last year kind of started balling out at the end a little bit and showing why he was a first pick, and he looked decent. And the one thing that the Panthers don't have is weapons. I mean, who's their best player? Calvin Ridley? No, Calvin Ridley's a Titan. Who's their best player?
David
Adam
Leggett,
Thielen.
Jalen Cocker,
I
David
mean,
Moore.
McMillan. I mean, McMillan makes a lot of sense. I don't know if the Panthers would do that, but you talk about a team that needs to know what they have in their quarterback. If McMillan's there, that's it's kind of a solid way to start that process. Because this will be Young's third year,
Yes.
Yes.
so they basically have 2 more years to kind of figure out what they have in them.
Well, this year and next year.
That's what I mean. 2 more years.
Yeah.
So
one plus one.
I'm not totally out on them taking McMillan, but I like you said too, this, your fingers on this pulse a lot better than mine is, Mass. If you think that they're going to go after Mason Graham, then I'm totally cool with them taking Mason Graham. He's best available on the board, and that's what a lot of people's whatchamacallit, philosophy on draft day is: best available, best on your board, especially in a draft like this where there are no home run hitters.
I know.
I think Mason Graham.
You think Mason Graham?
Yeah.
I tend to agree. It just because, like Paul said, they're kind of a no man's land. Just take the best available, and then use other parts of your draft to kind of build around, and
Let me double check and see who did they get in the free agency. I know they got Bobby Brown. Who's their
They
run
got the
stuffer?
dude from Kansas City.
Pat Jones.
The defensive tackle from Kansas City.
I think it's
Oh.
either Mason Graham or McMillan. Mike Kay?
They're both defensive tackles.
Yes.
McMillan's not a defensive tackle.
No, the two
Oh.
linemen that they signed.
Mike Kay, what do you think? You've been quiet.
I've been observing. I'm going to be completely honest. I kind of didn't do a whole lot of college football this year. So I know like the main guys, but we didn't like the trenches of the D linemen. Kind of lost me there. But I know like the names, but like I didn't do it. Like you said, I didn't do a lot of homework on it. So yeah, I mean the Panthers, they, like Kendall said, they kind of just need somebody. And, Young, they offense isn't terrible. I mean, they could always do defense because I probably could name one defensive player on the Panthers. But, I mean, that division's winnable, and they get the right couple pieces, some free agents. I mean, they're not that far behind. I mean, Young played well at the end of the year. So, I think you just get best player available at that point, which it could be McMillan. I don't know. So,
If it was any other team in this position, it would be, to me, if it was any other team in this position, it would be a tie-up between Will Johnson and Mason Graham. But the one thing the Panthers don't need is a corner.
They do need a corner.
Don't they have like 2 great
They have
defensive
one.
backs?
They have one, J.C. Horton Jr., and that's it.
Didn't they ink somebody else up?
No.
I thought they had somebody else on their team that everybody was really high on.
Panthers depth chart 2025.
Mike Jackson, he's pretty good.
Let's see. Left quarterback, J.C. Horn. Right quarterback,
Michael
Chow
Jackson.
Smith-Wade.
No, Michael Jackson's their left corner.
J.C. Horton is their left corner.
No, Michael Jackson's their left corner. J.C. Horn's their right corner. Nick Scott is their strong safety. I mean, look, I think that their secondary is pretty solid. I don't think that they would go after Will Johnson in this spot. I think any other team, those would be the 2 toss-ups. I think for them, it's Mason Graham or it's McMillan, unless like they're really high on Shamar Stewart. But unfortunately, for something like that, we just don't know.
No, I say Shamar Stewart, but
But I mean, I'm fine with Shamar Stewart. I don't care.
Kendall?
I threw my head in for Mason Graham just for best available, but
New Orleans Saints on the clock.
Shamar Stewart's always like the thing with Shamar Stewart that he's got going for him in this like 5 to 10 range is that he is an edge rusher, and edge is sexier than defensive tackle. So, Mason Graham might have the edge in terms of being the better player, but an edge rusher just is going to be a better pick. The Saints, I have no fucking clue what they're going to do. I have no idea.
Is Carr still
I
gonna
do
be
not.
hurt?
I don't believe they're going to go after Shadur Sanders.
Well, yeah, Carr. What's his deal?
It doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter whether Carr is good to go or not. I just don't think they're going after Shadur Sanders.
yeah, I don't know like what their plan is, because that's another sort of
I would
like
say-
middle of the road team.
I would go McMillan because you saw what happened after Olave got hurt.
Who's their number 2 receiver?
Is that Rashid?
Rashid Shaheed or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Who-
I could see McMillan. I could see Will Johnson. I mean, I think it's anybody. I think I could. I mean, it could be Membu. I mean, Mass, where's your head at in this? Do you think it's Shador?
Lineman.
He would look good.
You think they go after? You think they go after Membu?
Membu or that guard from, I think, Alabama. I had
Okay.
to I could double check for a second. Saints are a pretty big wild card.
But offensive line is always a need, no matter what.
Yeah, offensive line's always a need. They're in a weird position because they have they just got some money, but they also the only reason they have the money is because they lost an offensive lineman.
Yes.
So the Membu pick or the Kelvin Banks pick, or not Kelvin Banks, Kelvin Banks or the other guy that you mentioned. I think those are all solid picks.
The guard from Alabama.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I liked it.
Kyle?
What did we say?
We think the Saints are going to go offensive line.
The kid from Missouri.
Might be who I'm thinking of, yes.
Oh, that's Ahmed Membu.
Then no, that's not who I'm thinking of. Tyler Booker is who I was thinking, but
What position was Ramsey?
what position was what?
Ramsey. Was he a guard or tackle?
He was a center, wasn't he?
I don't think so.
Ryan Ramczyk. Oh, he was a tackle. All right, so the kid out of Mizzou. Kendall?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
I'm on board.
Chicago.
Shamar Stewart.
If only we had a Chicago fan on the show.
Probably.
It's funny. You know what I mean, we're not. If this draft goes exactly this way, I don't think the Bears end up picking at 10. To be honest with you,
Trade back or trade out entirely.
I think they just trade back. I could see like a team like Cincinnati coming up to get Will Johnson, like a team that is just bereft of defensive talent, and getting, you know what I mean. But I mean, we don't do that for these, so I'm kind of I don't really know.
Sure, Sanders.
With what's available, I don't really know.
That'd be so ridiculous. Could you imagine that?
So many people think that they're going to take. They're either going to end up with Ashton Genty or Tyler Warren.
Shamar Stewart.
Shamar Stewart's not a bad pick. I think with what's left, they go after whatchamacallit. I think they go after Calvin Banks.
All right.
I think they take the tackle because Braxton Jones is still a question mark. He's in his contract year. You don't know if he's going to be good enough to stick around or not. And Joe Tooney, you just have the year left on him, and you know who knows if he's going to come back or go chase another ring or what after. You don't know. I mean, you're happy to have him this year, but you don't know if you're going to have him long term. And so, I mean, I don't know if Kelvin Banks can play guard, but there's no such thing as having too much offensive line talent.
And the easiest pick for me in this draft, if he gets here, Will Johnson is going to San Francisco.
Yeah, but we don't like San Francisco, so let's give them.
I would say Mike Green.
No shot.
Okay.
Right there. Jordan, whatever his name was.
Is there any camp that thinks that San Francisco could take a quarterback if one were to become available?
No.
There's no camp.
Zero camp.
Not with the first overall.
I don't think so. I don't think if they're going to take a quarterback, it's going to be in like the 4th round.
They also have Purdy for at least 2 more years.
Yeah, I don't.
What a stupid suggestion.
That's what I do.
All right, so like I said, Will
I'm fine with
Johnson's
that.
right?
I'm fine with that. Their defense was completely depleted this offseason.
All right.
And
Interesting. Who goes to Dallas?
Tedoroa McMillan.
Somebody with flash.
Shamar Stewart. Matthew Golden.
I think it's either McMillan or Loveland. I think it's going to be an offensive player, though.
And this could be Jerry Jones's last draft. He wants to go with a bang here.
I think it's either McMillan or Loveland.
They need another playmaker on the other side of CeeDee Lamb.
Right. Well, I mean, no, because they have a decent tight end, don't they?
Ferguson.
Yeah, so I think McMillan then.
Yeah.
I think McMillan makes the most sense.
I think Golden over McMillan, but that's just me. All right.
Then go with Golden. I just think they take a wide receiver. I don't give a fuck which one.
Kendall, who's Miami taking?
Miami's taking an offensive lineman.
Okay, who?
Well, if this guy wasn't picked yet, was Josh Simmons selected?
He was not selected yet.
That's who the Dolphins are taking. I mean, at this stage of the game, the Dolphins' best hope is to finish second in the AFC East. And obviously the biggest question mark is keeping Tua healthy. The guy was running all around. Some of it's, self-inflicted, but build a line, work in a line.
They don't need to keep him healthy. They just need to teach him not to run headfirst into fucking lineman's chest.
Yeah, with that being said, they
select
him
to run headfirst first.
Yeah, I mean, it's Kendall's pick.
Indianapolis Colts.
I think they take Colson Loveland.
Yep.
Because I actually think the Colts are the team most likely to trade up to get Warren.
I also agree with that.
I could see the Colts, like, where did Warren go in ours? He went to the Jets. I could see the Colts trading with the Jets to get that. Or if Warren falls down to like the Saints pick, I could see that.
I think the Rams want to trade for it more, but they just can't.
I think this has got Colson Loveland written all over it.
I agree. Detractors?
Not for me.
All right. Kyle wants to do this, and he has barely participated. Atlanta Falcons.
Mike Green.
They're gonna trade Kirk Cousins and then draft Shador Sanders.
Something to team
Or
up with
Smart
Penix.
Stewart.
Everyone's gonna think it's stupid, but it's gonna work out. Who did you say they were gonna take? Shamar Stewart or who?
Mike Green, one of those edge rushers.
That's interesting. I could see that. I could also see them going after Derek Harmon to fill the Grady Jarrett hole. But I don't hate the idea of them going defensive line at all. I don't think they're gonna.
take
I
Malachi
don't think.
Starks. I think they take Malachi Starks.
You think they go safety?
But they barely could get any pressure. They need an edge rusher.
I don't disagree, but it's a deep draft for edge.
Yeah, and they're going to get the one of one, basically almost one of one at 15.
All right, I'll use Shamar Stewart.
That's what I would think they would take.
I'm
Objections?
fine with it. I'm fine with it.
Good pick.
Now
Arizona
picking
Cardinals.
a team I know nothing about, but I'm going to go with Shamar Stewart. The Cardinals just kind of always take best available.
You cannot take Shamar Stewart because he
Oh,
was
sorry.
literally just picked.
Sorry, I meant Mike Green. I think they just go best available based on need. That's just like what they do every year.
Either him or Derek Harmon. Some of this stuff the middle.
Ironically enough, I think that this is where Matthew Golden goes, but
What position does he play?
He's a receiver.
All right. Interesting. I don't hate it.
What is that wide receiver room?
Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride.
So
I rest my case.
one tight end, one receiver.
Matthew Golden's good.
He also gives them a speed presence on the outside that they do not have. Kid ran a 4.29 40-yard dash.
Wow, that's fast.
Don't blink.
Kyle
He
beat
was
that.
zooming. Kendall?
Have you guys ever done a show 40-yard dash?
No.
We've
You
talked
should.
about it a lot, but we've never done it.
That's fair. Should happen.
Instead, we've done a lot of mock draft conversations.
And drinking.
Where Kyle's begged for it, and then we just don't do it.
I like the receiver pick.
All right. Matthew Golden. Cincinnati.
Best with the player available.
Agreed. Mike Green, edge, Marshall.
What is the Bengals? I mean, obviously we know that the defense is horrendous. Which area of the defense is the worst?
Everything. All of it. It's
Well,
all bad. Literally everything not named Kyle Hendricks.
Right. That's why I let off. But if we could be selected to one, what would it be?
Paul.
What?
Edge.
Trey Hendricks is
Whatever.
Well, I mean,
Kyle
yeah,
Hendricks would be
Hubbard,
bad in
Hubbard
football.
left too, right? Is Hubbard retired?
You know,
Is that
Kyle-
Henderson?
Kyle, you always want to just correct me.
Hubbard's not there anymore.
Everybody
either.
wants to correct me.
You're my Mike Mock. You know that?
Ouch.
Hi.
Seattle Seahawks.
What's the weirdest player to take in the first round?
Shador Sanders.
At this, yes.
Who's their quarterback? Oh, Sam
Sam
Darnold,
Darnold.
right?
And there, Cooper Cup.
That safety from South Carolina seems like a Seahawk.
Amanawari? Yeah.
Seems like a Seahawk.
Do they need a safety?
No, but they'll take one.
No, but if he looks like a Seahawk, then he's a fucking Seahawk.
They're going Tyler Booker.
It's also a Seahawk name.
This is, for me, either Amanawari or fucking what's his name?
Tyler Booker.
Oh, I know that guy.
No. You know, fucking what's his name? No, it's not going to be Luther Burden.
Oh wait, was it Luther Burden the third?
Yeah.
Then they're taking him.
No,
Based on what?
it's too early.
Just other numbers that I've seen on jerseys from them.
What, Earl Thomas?
I could see
Only
Tyler
example.
Booker going here. They need help along the offensive line, so I wouldn't hate the Booker pick here.
Who's gonna Mass? Which player available is most likely to come in and make a good enough impact to be relevant, but not a good enough impact to get the Seahawks out of the 7th wild card spot?
Derek Harmon.
There you go. That's who they're taking then, because that's what they do.
They don't need a defensive tackle.
Yeah, but they finished 7th, and that's a 7th pick.
Tyler Booker.
Tyler Booker it is. Tampa Bay. Jahade Barron.
I think they need
Yeah.
a corner.
I could see that.
It's Jahad Barron or Malachi Starks. It's one of those two.
Campbell.
No, I don't think Campbell's going this early.
Starks it is.
I like the cornerback pick.
Kendall said Starks.
All right,
All right,
Mike.
All right.
your time to shine.
Oh, Denver's up.
Yes, they are.
He's also not on mic. We can't hear him.
Oh, I'm not.
Keep it close.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
That's better.
What do the Broncos need?
They need running back bad. They lost Javante. Estime is, showed glimpses, as they say. But if Genty is done, I saw an article today that they might try to trade up, but I think that would probably only be for Genty, which I would love. But
Do you think they reach and take Omarion Hampton here?
that's what I was going to say. I wouldn't be mad if they did, but I don't know. They also need a receiver, but it depends on what receivers go before him. And then Loveland, as you said, he's gone. They could also use a tight end. They did sign Evan Ingram, but that's kind of like a veteran kind of guy, so I would love a fresh tight end in there because Sean Payton likes his tight ends. But I think
they go.
Recommendations?
Mass, I'm in the same spot you are.
What?
I see your arrow.
1 or 2?
I think they take Jihad Campbell.
That's pretty much where I'm at. You guys need a linebacker in the middle of that defense.
No, I agree.
Plus, how perfect is it? The Denver Broncos play in the Mile High City, a term often referred to for planes, and they draft the Jihad.
Yes, perfect. Never forget.
Never
I've already
forget.
forgotten.
They did
It's
sign-
your call.
They did sign Dre Greenlaw, who I liked.
Yeah, it's your call. You get to pick who they pick.
Pressure's on. The whole state of the
The
franchise.
the other person I would say is Amika Egbuka.
That was the next thing I was going to say out of my mouth. But I'm going to say Hampton.
All right.
All right.
All right, I'm done.
All right, Kendall and Kyle.
Dark Steelers on the clock.
All right.
Is it Shador
quarterback?
Sanders or
Sanders.
Jackson Dart?
Sanders time.
Is it Sanders or Dart?
You're not picking either here.
You know Jackson?
We need a linebacker because it's the first round.
If it's up to me, it's the first 2 guys that are on the board is who I want.
Derek Harmon and Shadur Sanders.
Yeah.
Well, you can have Derek Harmon. I'm not clicking on Shadur Sanders.
All right. I'm cool with Harmon. They need a guy that can stop the run. In the worst
I
way.
do not think that you take Sanders this high.
You don't have a 2nd round pick, Massey.
All right, you may select Sanders here if you would like.
I
Don't you
don't
have a
think they.
second-round pick?
I don't think they take Sanders at all. I think if they take a quarterback, they're taking Dart.
Why don't you have a 2nd-round pick? Who did you trade for?
DK.
Yeah. Man, I tell you what,
MLB,
I would go
MLB
White
cared to weigh in.
Lotus.
I think we go. If this is the way the draft goes, I think we would take Sanders. You know, I've heard a lot of conflicting stuff. I don't know if he's gonna fall down this far, if he's gonna be drafted in the first round. I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore. But I don't know the situation with Rodgers. I don't. It's just a
Who
very.
knows the situation with Rodgers?
It's very ominous. I think if this is the way the draft goes, and you see a quarterback, even a quarterback just like talked about a little bit, I think they take him.
How deep into defensive tackles in this class?
Decently.
Maybe we can get a good one in the third.
Yeah.
I think you can get a project in the third. I mean, but at the same, Derek Hampton's also a project. Like that's the thing. That the thing I've heard about this draft is that Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, fucking like Mason Graham, Will Campbell, and then somebody else. I can't remember their name, who it was. Like those five, and then like Cam Ward is just kind of the consensus first overall quarterback taken. But like so like those six, and then like from draft pick 7 to like draft pick 150, like you're pretty much getting the same caliber player.
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe not that far down, but yes.
So like you're like, can you get a good player? Like yes, but in the regards that like it's because there's no good players. Like you'll get someone you can definitely get someone that's decent. And the Steelers traditionally draft well.
You know, I think they would take Sanders because they draft the legacy players.
Man, that's going to be an obnoxious quarterback room.
All right. Derek Harmon to the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah.
No, we trade up from the third round pick to get him.
No.
All right.
You guys trade DK Metcalf, or you guys trade George Pickens for this pick.
I can see that.
Trades with Los Angeles Chargers.
Can you just see
All right,
if that
Kyle.
would, can you select players too or no?
No.
Do you think that pick would fly? The Steelers give up their third this year, a third next, or like a fourth next year, and George Pickens to get this pick?
No.
What about a first next year, George Pickens?
Yes. I don't think he wants Pickens. Huh?
We're not trading up.
You said it, so I was giving you the option.
I was fucking around.
Also, you guys might trade up. You won't
Derek
trade
Harmon?
up this. You won't trade up this far, but I could see you trading up into the second
You're
round.
definitely trading up next year. I can tell you that.
For who?
Derek Harmon? Anybody?
I don't know. The draft's in
Predictions?
Pittsburgh.
We should go.
Here's the thing. A, we should go. B, I don't remember. But do we have any objections to the Derek Harmon pick?
None.
No, the only thing I think that they would do if Derek Harmon's on the board is like potentially they could take the receiver from Ohio State just because they don't have good like offense.
He's the same kind of player that Ladidi is.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
but
Now it's going back to the Chargers.
you need weapons. You just need. It doesn't matter if they're all the same. You just need something.
Mike Williams is already back with the Chargers, so that means Keenan Allen's going back too.
We're getting the band back together.
All right, Derek Harmon to the Chargers.
Walter
Green Bay
Nolan to
Packers.
the Packers.
Yeah,
I
that
see
or
it.
Michael Williams.
I see Walter Nolan and as the Packer.
It's either that or Michael Williams.
I actually just fully disagree.
Why? Who do you think?
I think they take Barron.
I could see it.
I think they take Barron because yes, they do need defensive line help, but their secondary was burned all last year.
They could also take Luther Burden.
You think about it from the standpoint. I look at it from the standpoint of their defense was consistently burned all last year, or their secondary, I mean, and they're you're playing. I mean, granted, we don't know what Rome Odunze is really going to be, but we'll find out without Keenan Allen. But you're going up against at least three. You're going up against three division opponents with at least the top half wide receiver duos in the league. Like DJ Moore and Rome Odunze might be like 15, but like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison are top 10, and Amon-Ra St. Brown and fucking Jameson Williams, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's right.
those are three probably top half of the league wide receiver duos that you have to get through just to win your division to make the playoffs, let alone the rest of the wide receivers you're going to have to face. I would bet money on Barron if this is the way it's shaped up, but I could see an edge rusher. I could see it, but
Yeah, they're stock in that. I mean, it's another team that it's like you're the dominant force forever, and then all of a sudden, then all right, you're kind of on the outside looking in, and the offensive talent is significant. How do we combat this?
it also wouldn't surprise me if they went receiver.
I don't think there's a receiver that's going this high.
I don't.
Maybe
I-
Ibuka?
That's the kid from Ohio State.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to take him, but like at the same time, like it's kind of just more of the same. It's their best receiver has injury issues. The tight end is kind of like middling. Jordan Love, what is he? We're not sure. Make sure you know, kind of thing. I don't think they'll do it, but it would make sense.
Okay, so who are they taking?
I think they take Barron. I think that they're going to prioritize their secondary.
Kendall?
I agree.
Minnesota Vikings. Nick
Walter Nolan.
Manawari. Their secondary needs more than their line.
Yeah. And that's another reason that I think Green Bay would take Barron is because they know that if they don't take him, he's going to Washington or he's going to Minnesota.
Correct.
I agree with that pick. Their secondary is trash. They still have a great 1-2 punch at receiver. Their running back room is competent. Their offensive line is great. They have a good head coach. I mean, the quarterback situation is up in the air because you don't know if JJ is going to be ready to go, and if he is ready to go, you don't know what you're going to get. But they're not going to move on from JJ already. And
I can see the safety because Harrison Smith's old as hell.
Yeah.
and it's just their secondary in general is just burnt out, and there's no cornerbacks left worth drafting here.
Yeah. Mark them down, Mass.
All right, Nick Manawari.
What did you just say?
Yes.
Yeah, the safety. Yep,
Kendall, you're up.
Okay.
they're taking the kid from North Dakota State. I don't care what Kendall says.
Oh yeah, it's a Gray Zabel. I mean, the offensive line was horrendous all year long. You get a center, and you can move him anywhere inside line. Offensive linemen these days, you have to be able to play anywhere on the line. I don't care what you say. You have to be able to play all positions. Doesn't matter if you're the best at one. You got to be able to play anywhere. So they're just taking offensive line.
I hard disagree with that statement.
Name.
No, it's entirely true. You can be, a primary position, but you have to be universal. You just have to be.
That's just like not true.
That is entirely true.
It's not true. You're not just going to plug anybody in to play center. The teams that do that, i.e. the Chicago Bears, are fucking awful all the time. You might be able to be kicked inside and play some guard or outside and play some tackle, but look at Joe Tooney. Joe Tooney is one of the best fucking guards in all of football, and he was not a good tackle.
Regardless, they're taking him.
They're taking him. I agree, but I'm just saying, you don't have to be able to play every position. It's actually, in my opinion, if you're decent, like serviceable at any offensive line position, you're not a starter.
I don't know I
Because
think that could be untrue. I mean, you
for
see
the
that
most part, I
there
mean,
there are teams that
if you're elite at left guard, but if you're okay, so who's all right? Let's go back in time. So Kyle, I'd like you to weigh in on this. What was it? Did DeCastro play right guard?
Yeah.
So if your left tackle got injured, were you going to move DeCastro to left tackle because you had a right guard that could come in for DeCastro?
No.
No shot. Even if you could play it, you would never move him. If you're elite at a position on the offensive line, you're not playing somewhere else.
no, but it's need basis. I mean, we're talking about like a situation where someone gets injured and you don't have to necessarily move somebody. That's not the argument being made.
No, but what I'm saying is the guy who's under DeCastro would be the guy who would probably fill in at left tackle. If they didn't have a backup left tackle, it would be one of the backups. It wouldn't be one of your starters shifting around.
Right, but the point I'm making here is that this is a guy who you can shift anywhere, especially in the interior line, and be effective in an offensive line that is just horrendous. So he's not handcuffed to the center position. You can kind of test him out anywhere in the line, be it the interior, and him be effective.
I think you can test him out. I think the fact that you're guaranteeing he can be effective is a big reach. Traditionally, centers are not overly effective when they're being asked to play position other than center, and vice versa. Guards are not, or it's not the track record for guards being serviceable, good starting centers for their career. Having been a guard forever is not that great. Center is a specialized position. It might be an offensive lineman, but it's a completely different position. And that's why like the Jason Kelce's and the what's the guy's name on the Chiefs?
Which one?
The
Which
center.
guy?
Creed Humphrey.
Creed Humphreys. Like that's what. And then who's the center that just got paid all that money today? That
Cam
became the
Jurgens.
yeah. These guys like centers are centers. It's a specialized position. It's like to me, offensive line is a lot like linebacker. Like the linebackers that fill in and fill everywhere and play all the linebacker roles are not elite starters on any team at any point in their career. They're role fillers. Like if you have a middle linebacker that's worth his weight in middle linebacker money, he's not going to go play left or right outside linebacker anywhere. I don't think that you like. I mean, I'm just saying. I think that your statement about him being able to be tried out across the offensive line is true, but just to assume he can be effective at any of the interior positions, I think is more of a reach than it is a guarantee. I think it's more likely to fail than it is to succeed, especially at the center role.
Well,
And you see it all the time. You see tons of offensive linemen that come in and are drafted at the right guard position, and they're asked to play left guard, and they struggle because it's a completely different position to them because everything is backwards.
we shall
offensive,
see.
like-
I mean that this one draft isn't going to save that line. That needs a whole lot of work.
I think a lot of people look at the offensive line positions and they think of them like they think of the defensive line. Edge rushing from different sides is different than trying to block edge rushers from different sides. I'm not saying you specifically, Kendall. I'm just saying in general.
I follow.
I mean, I might be wrong, but I just think that I think left guards trying to play right guard are more unsuccessful than left ends trying to play right ends. All right, Mass. What quarterback is Sean McVay wowing us with?
Jalen Milrow.
You think right here?
If
See-
they don't trade back a little bit first.
I don't disagree with it because I think somebody put a bug in the ear for Jalen Milrow because I don't think I was surprised he got the invite to the day one draft. Now I get it, a lot of quarterbacks get them anyway, but especially in like this draft with like all the speculation of Shedeur Sanders falling as far as he might fall, but I don't hate that you're thinking that way. I think someone's taking him.
Oh, I hate that pick.
Freak athlete though.
Yep, that doesn't
worked.
mean he's a good quarterback.
Oh, what do you mean? The Colts would beg to differ.
Kyle, tell me who the Baltimore Ravens are taking.
They're taking the Ohio State kid, right?
They're taking.
The receiver from Ohio State.
I don't know. They don't really. I mean, they can. I was thinking one of the defensive guys.
They're taking Michael Williams.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah.
Just they're drafting somebody that's not going to show up in the AFC divisional round.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the Michael Williams pick. The Ravens are one of those teams that like yes, they have deficiencies here and there, but like they genuinely are just going to take like the best available on their board because like there are going to be a playoff team. There is too much talent on that team for it not to be the case.
Yeah,
All
pick
right,
them.
let's round these few picks out, and then let's spend like 10 or 15 minutes talking about WrestleMania, and then we'll sign off.
So Michael Williams to the Ravens.
Let's do the Lions real quick. Lions definitely need an edge rusher.
I think they're
Scoring
taking Nolan.
would be good here.
I think they're taking Nolan. I know they need edge, but I think they're going to try to shore up the inside of their defensive line. I like the elevator music.
Hutchinson will be 100% right. He was already sort of projected to be back for. I know they were saying that if they made the Super Bowl, but there was no issues with him, right?
Who?
Hutchinson.
Yeah, he'll be back. I see what you're saying with the edge rusher mass. I just think that they need the interior defensive line, especially like I mean I know they were completely depleted defensively by the end of the season, but even in the beginning of the season, like they were getting exposed up the middle on runs with some regularity. I think they're going to try to shore that up.
Kendall?
Bring in the defensive tackle.
Kyle, who are the Commanders taking?
James Pierce.
I don't disagree at all.
Yeah, a defensive player for sure.
Kendall?
The Buffalo Bills.
Is Bobby Wagner still playing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
What did he sign for?
He's a commander.
Another year.
No, but was it more than a year?
Nope, just another year.
No.
Kendall?
The
Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills. They're going to select Maxwell Harrison, cornerback from Kentucky. Bills are an interesting team. Obviously, offensively firepowered. Defensively, it always seems like they're good, but are they ever good enough to seal the deal? Secondary is kind of weird. I mean, it's strange when I gotta think of the guy's name. Safety, he went to the hospital.
DeMar Hamlin.
Yes.
I was hearing that happen.
Yeah, that's right. Not to say that he's not a good player. He's playing the professional, football, but when you get fledged into kind of a starting role, and I think you are just a career backup. I think that says something. So I think they kind of do something to shore up the secondary with that pick.
Interesting choice to go over fucking Trey Amos or Siobhan Ravel, but
Massey, this might surprise you,
All right.
but I'd never heard of these guys before.
I'm not surprised. Runner up
Tackle.
Kansas City Chiefs.
The tackle out of Oregon.
Josh Cardley Jr.
I think everyone thinks they're going to take a receiver because of, that's just what they think every year. But Mahomes doesn't need weapons to get it done, but they need defense. They need an offensive line.
Kendall?
I agree.
Kyle?
Yeah.
Mike?
I love it.
Okay. Final pick.
Edge rusher Nick Squirtin.
Yep.
Kendall?
With such efficiency, that's got to be the guy.
They need another.
And then
Josh Sweat left, so they need somebody to replace him.
and the Bears at some point are going to get Trayvon Henderson.
All right, and let's go ahead and throw this in GSWD.
Actually, maybe the Bears will get Trayvon Henderson with the 10th pick.
Can't wait for any of this to be wrong. All right, let's talk about wrestling.
I didn't watch any of it.
Kendall did.
I watched last night.
I did watch both nights. You know,
I heard it was a very underwhelming WrestleMania.
that it was, and I said that to Kyle, which is like, but unfortunately, I don't think it's entirely like booking's fault. You know, last year was so much fun with the build up with Cody Rhodes, and the main event had all like the superstars that came in for that match. So it's sort of like you're chasing that. You know, it's a hard act to follow. There were some pretty good matches within the two nights. I think Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins delivered, though I think there was sort of like we all saw it coming, especially with like Seth Rollins saying to Paul Heyman, "You owe me one," like he was going to turn on both guys, but it was still a good match. Cena and Cody Rhodes was
Cena as a heel just didn't do it. It was just boring. Like it just, I don't know. Like I know his kind of stuff is a little, obviously it's all gimmicky, but him running around and doing the hustler, like he's just. I know that they kind of wanted to make something interesting, but it was just boring. It just the theme song doesn't match a heel, and it was just stupid.
I think people's biggest complaint was they were anticipating The Rock making an appearance, which I didn't necessarily think, oh, that has to be the case, but
then when you try Travis Scott out there,
right, and it's like, oh, I see where this is going, and then it doesn't.
And what was his factor in all this? He just
came out the first time with The Rock. That was it, and then he did the theme song, or it was the sponsored song.
Yeah, it would have been better if they made it like, I don't know, some sort of like special match, like a no holds barred or that kind of stuff where they could use like and then have like The Rock interfere and that kind of shit. But it just was a boring match, and to end it the way they would no finisher really. I mean, I know he hit his finisher a few times, but like he hit him with the belt, and then it was just very anticlimactic. And I don't know. As somebody, I only watch WrestleMania. That's the one thing I watch a year at my buddy's house. That's about it.
There were a couple things I think. What's that?
I'm very confused because I just watched Raw after Mania.
Mm-hmm.
And spoilers, anybody?
Oh, I don't care. No, I don't watch WrestleMania. I won't watch wrestling for 365 days.
I heard Rusev came back.
Kendall, do you care?
Oh, go ahead.
Cena was just in the middle of the ring just doing his thing, and then Randy Orton just showed up and RKO'd him out of nowhere.
See, that I'm interested in. Like, that Randy Orton match, I was like, and then they brought this guy out, and I turned to my buddy, I go, who is that? He's like, some guy from TNA. I was like, see, if they had like an old school guy, like a Jeff Hardy or Edge, I would have been like, okay, I'm in on this match. But
so it was going to be him and Kevin Owens, but he got hurt.
That would have been fine because I know who Kevin Owens is. Like, but this guy, I was just like,
Kevin Owens got hurt, so that's why they had to cancel the match. And the only reason they gave Randy Orton a match is because it was his 20th straight WrestleMania appearance.
No, that's great. I was happy to see him. Like, I do this thing every year because I stopped watching wrestling probably like 2010. So every WrestleMania, I always ask my buddy, I'm always like, does this guy still wrestle? Like when he said Drew McIntyre, I was like, they're still trotting him out there, like just like old school names. So when I was like, oh, is Randy Orton versus who? And I was like, I hope it's like an old school guy. And then I was like, who the fuck is this guy? So I didn't really care. I just was cool to see Randy Orton still out there doing it, but But
yeah, I mean,
I think a lot of people kind of saw the Randy Orton angle coming at some point in Cena's farewell tour.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you go back and you look like when you go back and you kind of pigeonhole, the greatest wrestlers of all time's careers. You dial it down to like 2, maybe 3 like all time like opponents. Like when you go back and you look at the Undertaker's career, you go back and you look at his iconic matches with Mankind. You look at his iconic matches with Shawn Michaels. When you talk about Shawn Michaels, you talk about The Undertaker, you talk about Bret Hart. When you talk about John Cena, like you're going to talk about Randy Orton and you're going to talk about Edge.
Yeah.
Those are the two. You know, he had some good bouts with CM Punk, and he had some other, but
Batista.
like Randy Orton and Edge
Yeah.
were the two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that mid 2000s bitter rivalry. That was like peak for me.
Well,
Yeah.
well, Randy Orton and Cena, that lasted, you know, a long time because they came up together,
Yeah.
and you know, like it's just you go back and you look at like those will be Cena's, and obviously Edge can't be part of it because he's with the competitor right now.
Yeah, it's just tough because we see it a lot. It's true about a lot of aging athletes. It's they don't know how to go out, and I don't know. I just feel like they could have done a better job of supporting that match all around. But also for me too, as like the lowest casual wrestling fan, like someone like Cody Rhodes just also was like
Yeah.
doesn't do it for me really. But
I think the thing. Oh, go ahead, Paul.
Well, I think a big problem too with like wrestling right now is that like they kind of like I personally I know Mock was a big hater of it, especially with Roman Reigns' lack of appearances on made like program television and stuff like that. I don't have a problem with the extremely long tenured champion. I think it gives the belt more credibility
Hmm.
than when it's just bouncing around every 5 seconds, especially the major title. But I think that like Roman Reigns having it for as long as he did, fans are just kind of like we're like itching to see some excitement, and it's hard to not have excitement when the belt is changing hands.
Yeah.
Like Cody Rhodes is going to be there for a while. Like him sacrificing 6 7 months as the top guy is it's peanuts in terms of the big picture.
Right. And then so Kyle going into this had a theory about Cody Rhodes winning and Cena going after Jey Uso, which I could buy into, but I was thinking if they're going to have Cena win at Mania, he beats Cody Rhodes obviously, and he does it by doing it dirty, which he did. So I think that kind of works for the the heel angle, and it gives now Rhodes when he does win it back from John Cena some credence, whenever that may be.
Well, and I think too. I think this opens up the door to different possibilities too, and I think Kyle would really appreciate this angle. But like, you could just have a Cena Orton thing last all summer, like from here to SummerSlam, and the payoff could be Randy Orton beating Cena with like, and you could sprinkle something into it where like, The Rock is back in the mix,
Hmm.
and he tries to help and fucks up, and that angles out him and Cena again or something like that. But like I could totally get behind Randy Orton beating Cena, getting the title, and then having Randy Orton be the one that drops it back to Cody Rhodes, because then you can kind of revisit that whole legacy angle.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Kyle was a big fan of the legacy.
I do. I just wish the other guy came back.
DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's too busy like drinking and driving.
Hey, who amongst us?
It's a shame. Like, there's been a lot of hate over this WrestleMania, and some of it is deserved, but I think some of it too is just recency bias because the one in Philadelphia last year was just so much better. They can't all be these amazing shows. It just can't, and especially when you do it 2 days.
Well, that's the problem. Like now that WrestleMania is just consistently and regularly 8 hours, you're increasing the amount of popcorn matches,
Hmm.
and like if you have two scheduled popcorn matches on each night, and one of the non-popcorn matches ends up being a dud or missing a major spot or just not landing with the audience, now you're running the risk of having 3 straight flat matches. Whereas, like, you go back in time to like Madison Square Garden with WrestleMania 20, like there was a couple popcorn matches. They tried to put some gimmicks in to keep you interested, like the Molly Holly and Ivory shave your head match,
Yep.
and like stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, especially back then, women's wrestling was a popcorn match. Let's just call it what it was. But like there was it's just bangers after bangers, like because you only had the one night. Now with 2 nights, you spread it out. And I never really understood. I don't understand like the 2 nights thing during COVID and stuff like that. That was different, but like now I feel like that's ran its course and they need to do away with it. I'd rather have one 6 hour show than 2 4 hour shows.
Yeah, it's very saturated, and now we've turned the page that SummerSlam is going to be 2 nights.
I mean,
Yeah.
but if you can, I mean, I obviously we all know it, but it's the money part of it. I mean, if
Oh,
you can
sure.
sell out an arena 2 nights in a row, everybody involved is going to say yes. So, yeah, it's almost like what you said, Paul, a 6 hour show. It's like it's almost like there's too much stuff going on for one night, but then it's like it becomes watered down when you do 2 nights. But I think it could also be, at least for me. But again, you guys watch more than I do. Like it's like the nostalgia thing. It's like we all think that our WrestleManias growing up were better. 20 years ago was better. It's not like baseball or anything like that. Anything back then when we were teenagers that was better than it is now. So it's like I get it, and I just as somebody who is like seeing guys that when I was growing up watching Cena Orton, it's just like yeah, they're not going to be as at the height of their game anymore. They're older and they can't do it. So they kind of had to make that match the way it was. It was like watching the last of the Undertaker's matches. It's just like this is bad out there, but we liked it because we liked the wrestlers. But it's just never going to live up to the hype that we wanted to. So I think it's just more like the fact that we're getting older and we're just like they started. But it does seem like this whole WrestleMania is getting panned completely, just from all facets of every wrestling people out there. Every piece of media seems to be hating it. But yeah, it is hard to top it year after year. But sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
So.
Wrong wrestler to pick.
I'll never subscribe to not having every title defended at WrestleMania. That will always be a gripe I'll have.
That every title should be defended.
Every single title should be defended
Yeah.
at WrestleMania.
Do they still
There's
do
no
that?
reason. There's no reason that the U.S. title wasn't being defended. There's no reason that the Women's Intercontinental title wasn't being defended.
Yeah, and just for like it's cool. Like I do like Drew McIntyre. Damian Priest is whatever, but like I don't need to see a street fight. And I just it doesn't matter. Save that for one of the other 19 pay-per-views that they shoved down our throat during the year.
Well, and especially too, like now that they have a women's U.S. and a women's Intercontinental, they have two women's titles and they have the tag titles. Like you don't need more than 5 women's matches over the course of WrestleManias. They should all be for titles. They shouldn't be having some non-title squash match at WrestleMania.
Right.
Fucking nobody cares about Naomi.
Yeah. Right. So I mean, if you guys decide to go watch, and I don't think you guys will watch the full thing, but there's some worthwhile matches if you go and click through. I guess if I were to give it like my rating, I'd give it like 6.8 out of 10, just because it wasn't intolerable. It was fine.
Yeah, I'd rather watch Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels in your house, Hell in a Cell.
And also, obviously, no Goddess Alexa Bliss, so already that knocks it down like 4.5 pegs. So that's all I have to say about that.
Hilarious. All right. Beer reviews?
Okay.
Yeah, so had the salt lime lager. It was pretty good. It was similar to like a Bud Light lime or that new garage beer with the lime, but it did have the nice little kind of interesting salt flavor to it. But as far as I know, I do recommend it. It just came out in 12 packs from Trogs. You can probably find them at most liquor stores. But they do use fresh lime, I know. Very tasty. Would definitely try again. I give it an 8.3 out of 8.4.
I had. I'm sorry, Paul.
No, go ahead.
Courtesy of the Riddler, from the Compass Box Scotch Whiskey Maker Malt Whiskey Collection, I had The Story of the Spaniard. I'll read you a little blurb on the back here. Full, soft, and sumptuous, owing to a base of malt whiskeys aged in Spanish wine casks with flavors of citrus peel and ripe red fruits. This was pretty good. As noted many times, I do prefer the smokier, peatier scotches, but every once in a while it's nice to dabble outside. And this was pretty good. I had a tough time picking up on some of these flavors, but then again, I'm not very versed. But all in all, it was a very palatable scotch. Not much, bite to it. Very smooth. I will say it's sort of like your typical like aromatics to it, but I've never heard of this, but pretty cool. I like the little Spanish conquistador type guy they got on the bottle, and I will give it a 3.2 out of 5. Would get again.
Nice sauce.
I didn't drink anything tonight, actually.
Nice. Mass?
As usual, I had breast milk.
And?
Nice and curdled.
Excellent.
I gotta tell you, midway through the show, I went to go wipe my nose real quick, just on the edge of my shirt. It's a dirty shirt, so I said, "What not?" Caught a whiff of the spit up that I've been spit up on 4 times today.
Nice.
Almost threw up myself.
Nice. You should stew that in some hot water into a beverage and let Kettle drink it.
Ugh. Worst part is I know he would.
Oh, yeah.
Throw it in the decanter for me, will you?
Anything for the story.
Hell yeah.
From Freeport, Maine, I had the Lunch India Pale Ale from Maine Beer Company, based named after Lunch the whale that you can see off the Maine coast.
Nice.
It's just kind of like a standard, just like New Englandy, like IPA, not overly citrusy, just kind of mild bitterness, solid hops. I mean, Maine Beer Company is always a pretty well well reviewed and well liked brand. It's a good IPA. I like that they kind of stick with the old school style, kind of like Baby Bombers. They do they do the 1.1 pint size
Like 16
bottles, which
ounces?
I think would probably be a 500 ml.
Yeah, probably. That's how many steel they make it in. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's nice. It's a little, for a 7% beer, it's a little bit kind of rough to have that much of it, especially because it does. IPAs do tend to like warm up quicker. But I mean, Maine just makes a solid beer. Everything they do is pretty much just a solid 4 out of 5,
Fair enough.
except for a tiny beautiful something.
Of course.
Is that worse or better?
That's my favorite one that they do.
Okay.
So,
Paul, I had a quick question now that the season's over. Give me an honest rating about my officiating.
I think it was pretty fair. I mean, especially when you consider you're coaching kids and a bunch of part-time dads.
Fair enough.
I didn't really have any issues with it. I thought you were one of those refs that was more apt to letting the kids play.
See, I told you. I'm more lenient.
And
Pat
especially with like
back there.
younger kids, I like that. The only problem with the in any youth sport, and I think Kyle can attest to this, being a little league coach. The only issue with the letting the kids play mentality is just that you're more apt to get annoying fucking parents involved.
Now, no, I 100% agree with that. I don't actively let them play. It's just I like to call it the way I see it, but I do let certain things go, not necessarily maybe consciously. It could be subconsciously, but especially when you go from, doing like high school varsity games and then doing like sixth grade, rackets, kind of tough to be like, okay, now I just don't care as much, even though I do care. It's just, it's kind of, you put all your energy into doing the other stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I love doing it, but yeah, some of the kids can be annoying. To the
Yeah,
parents
I mean,
suck, but,
listen, every single one of those kids in that league needs a suitcase because they all travel.
That is true.
So, all right. Well,
All right.
Kendall, where can they find more Getting Sports with Drunk?
Spreaker.
No, not on Spreaker. But if you listen to podcasts, we're on iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, those type of places.
You heart radio.
No. EYE.
Keith says that.
And
Where can they find us?
well, they could. Wow, throwing off the mojo here.
Kendall's had a little bit too much to drink.
Nah. Facebook, Getting Sports with Drunk, Twitter and Instagram, GSWD _4.
Issues that say GSWD for all your daily uses, whether it's being demoted as the hostess or being upgraded as the cupcake.
Congrats.
Like, follow, subscribe. We got a bajillion shows, a bajillion posts.
Is that with a B?
With a B.
Okay.
There's not even like a number that I could tie onto it.
Oh, okay.
That's so many.
Just want to know. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Getting Spoiled with Drunk.
Sports.
Next week, we'll have our reactions to our team's drafts. Kyle can give us in 2 weeks, Kyle will give us a little rundown on the first month of baseball. Overreactions, thoughts, things of that nature. And, and then Then we get into the dog days of summer, where we come up with fun stuff. And one thing we're gonna do is, I don't know who's gonna do it and I don't know when, but someone's gonna do a game. We haven't played a game in a long time.
Yes, got to make a game.
Got to make a game. But until then, I'm your Cupcake the Riddler.
I'm Mock.
Master Massey.
Do not
Gene
drop
Walkable.
the microphone, Mike.
And the Rat of a Red Baron.
Conquistador.
Hello, goodbye.
Yeah.